Welcome back. This is episode 166 of the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian, and my voice cracked like I was 16.
166.
Yeah, I know. It's too many sis in a row there. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And Pop, Stack Guy Ryan.
What up?
I got to say, I'm happy it's over.
My mic on? Yeah.
It's on.
I'm kind of happy it's over too because
A lot of pressure for you.
yeah, it was because I knew I was going to do it. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I did it.
Speaking of punch in the
And it
face, I got to say this to Christian. I'm going to end it with a compliment, so just hang in there.
Oh, here we go.
I was trying to do something for us for the show, and I needed to find a good picture of you, like looking in the camera. And so I'm scrolling through, and I got to say two things. One, you want to talk about punchable face? You have a very fucking punchable face.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to punch you in every picture that I looked at. Mm-hmm. However, I'm going to compliment you.
Okay, here we go.
You lost a lot of weight.
No, I really didn't.
No, you really did.
Since when?
I don't know. You did. You look good.
What's the time reference here?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got big again, remember?
Big
You
now.
look good. No, you look good. I got to say.
Well, I've been back working out 3 weeks. I don't think I've really lost much of anything so far. Although I did some try workouts today. So
You look like you lost a little
Am
muscle.
I looking a swole?
Yeah,
You look like you lost a little muscle.
I did. I lost a lot of muscle. I didn't work out for almost nearly an entire year.
No, you look good though, man. I got to say.
All right, thank you.
I'm jealous. I'm going to start getting motivated now.
Well,
I want to lose a good amount of weight by our event on July 11th at the stadium.
I'll tell you, let's get real for a second here because we're going to spend probably the next hour. And I was actually going to come out with a request today to
leave us a 5-star rating and review.
Yeah, that also, please, and subscribe to the show on YouTube. It's not that I don't like the cursing on the show because I think sometimes it flows.
Can I cut you off?
Listen, right? I just wanted to hear a clean show and see how it sounded. But then when we were putting these clips together, I was like, there is no possible way
I will say this,
that we're going to get through this show without losing our minds.
Every time I curse, it is truly just natural. But after listening to the last couple episodes, I do have to try and hone it in a little bit.
Yeah,
because
sometimes
it was too much.
A bit
because
much.
I do just curse a lot in life, but it's too much on the show. So I'm going to try and hone it in. Can't promise anything.
Well, I'm distracted because there's a clip of Rocky on Ryan's computer
Jesus.
right now. So
Christian, do I have to
You've
scroll
seen
down?
it 4 million times.
I can't scroll down. It's stuck there.
But this episode, I can't make any promises yet because of these clips. We talked about this. We texted about it. I tried to stay away from all this bullshit, like the Astros apologies. I just read everything that was said. But putting these clips together and listening is just a whole different emotion.
Yeah.
Hearing the words come out of their mouth is just seriously, it's frustrating. So I can't promise you anything.
All right, so like you were saying, you want to get motivated. What you got to find? This is what woke me up. My daughter's gonna be born.
You're woke?
I'm not woke. I'm definitely not woke. Trust me. I don't want to claim to be.
You just woke up.
I just woke up and I said to myself, "You're gonna be that dad?
Yeah.
You're gonna be that dad?" And I said to myself, "I can't do that." And I know that I'll never be. Not that I was ever like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like top fitness guy, but I was a 5 to 6 day a week in the gym, worked out, ate well.
Yeah, but you took way too many pictures in the gym. You were too focused on the picture, I think.
No. See,
a lot of your Instagram pictures at the gym.
No, see, you are misconstruing why I did that. That was for accountability. That wasn't
Motivation.
That was for accountability for myself, not for anybody else. Plus, I had like 8 followers on Instagram.
So you're credible, like Correa and all those guys.
So now
that
you're
claim
going
to
to compare me to Carlos Correa now? Is that what you're going to do? Because
I wouldn't compare my worst enemy to Carlos Correa right now.
So basically, to wrap this up here, you got 3 kids downstairs.
Yes. My blood pressure's so good though, man.
What does that have to do with anything?
Isn't that like the biggest trigger?
It's a part of it, but there's other factors
Really?
that play into health. Yeah.
So maybe I'm just using that as an excuse to.
I mean, seriously.
I'm fat, but my blood pressure is. When I go to the doctor and they take my blood pressure, they're like, "Can you do that again?" Because they just
think it's an error or something.
like, "Wow,
that's impossible."
you got good blood."
You got to look at those 3 kids downstairs and be like, "Listen,
You're right,
I
bro.
got to do this for you."
What about my wife too? Think my wife wants to be near this?
And
she
also,
claims she does, but I wouldn't want to be.
You do for yourself too, I think.
Yeah, definitely most for myself. This is where you have to be a little selfish, I think, in life. Losing weight. You want to feel good. You feel good. You act good. Right?
Yeah, it totally changes
your life. I feel
energy.
like shit. I feel like a slob.
Yeah, I've been slacking off, eating poorly, and not working out like I used to. And
I've got to say, my general outlook and attitude towards things has been better since I started working out again.
It does something.
And also, since your wife's been pregnant, you've been you have a heart now. You're like a very.
I really don't like that
at,
about myself, to be honest with you.
Why?
That I'm like I get emotional about things, and I don't like that. I don't want to have compassion.
You're empathetic right now.
I don't want to have compassion towards people.
I know. I hate most people, but I get what you're saying. It's a good thing, though. You got to embrace it. Feel your feelings. I say it all the time.
My sister asked me to be godfather to her.
Did you cry?
You know what? I didn't, because I was so surprised.
Wow. Did you cry after, by yourself?
No, I didn't cry.
Alone in a room with candles?
Because I really didn't expect it, to be honest with you. And
really?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. I just don't ever anticipate people wanting to bestow those types of honors on me. So I just didn't anticipate it.
You're humble.
And I was
come off like a cocky fuck, but you're humble.
I was at my mother's house, and she came over with the baby, and I was holding him, and she goes, "Oh, he wants to give you something." I'm like,
he's a fucking baby.
I was like, what is this? And my mother and my sister are looking at me like, "Are you that stupid?" And then I opened it, and then it was like, it's like, "Will you be my godfather?" And I'm like, I was just stunned.
So you know what now? Whenever you're around them, you have to get Godfather apparel, and you got to talk like Don Corleone.
You know how he did that?
Godfather. He put marbles in his mouth
and cotton swabs
and dip.
No, I don't think he dipped.
Be surprised.
But we'll just say this before we get into the whole Astros things, because I've been kind of noting some of my fitness achievements on Twitter, and people are and it's not to be braggy or anything, dude. I ran a mile in 13 minutes the other night. There's nothing to brag
backwards.
That's what I'm saying. It's not anything to brag about. But
I could do a quarter mile in 13 probably right now.
But people say, you've been out of it so long. You got what is going to bring me back? You have to just look in the mirror and find what is going to motivate you.
You know what it is, and not to fluff the show up too much right now. For me, it's time. It's just time. I come home from my whole day, and I come home and I have 3 kids, a wife that's been going crazy all day. I can't find time, and I don't like to wake up early. I stay up late.
So that's when you do
Maybe late at night. Yeah.
Do what I did.
But if I'm running around at 2 in the morning, I'm going to get arrested.
When you're doing work up here, get a little exercise bike or something, throw it in the corner.
Boom.
When you're working on stuff, you just have it right out with you.
Bada bing, love it.
I don't have time. I don't actually have time to go to the gym anymore, so I invested in equipment for the house.
Yeah, at home shit. That's the way to go when you're lacking
I like
on
this.
time.
We'll talk about this more later.
Okay, so
off air.
Okay, so that's the public service announcement for the day. You got to find your motivation. What is going to motivate you to be a better person? Because the Houston Astros clearly have not found the motivation to be better people.
That's actually made them worse.
Definitely. They're doing the opposite of what
apologizing you're right. Apologizing for this scandal has actually made them more hateable than they previously were, if that was even possible.
100%.
I tweeted this out, right? I tweeted it. And it's the goddamn truth, okay? When you're apologizing for something like this, you are not speaking to your fan base. Sure, you can apologize to them too, but you're not playing to your fan base right now.
They don't care.
You have a loyal fan base. They're going to support you no matter what.
Do you know that Houston Astros fans are boycotting Buffalo Wild Wings?
Why?
Because one of the Premier League teams was caught cheating or something, and they got a heavy punishment, and B-Dub's Twitter account quote tweeted it and said, "That's how you punish cheaters." Yeah.
It was a tweet that, that's
so hear me out,
Manchester
right?
City was banned from Champions League for 2 seasons and fined $30 million euros for something. And then Buffalo Wild Wings Twitter quote tweeted and said, "That's how you punish a team that cheats." And now
that's how you punish a team that cheats.
And Houston Astros fans have lost their minds, and now they're boycotting Buffalo Wild Wings, burning gift cards.
So there you go. They're loyal to the Astros no matter what, right? When you have Jose Altuve, and I read this, I think it was Altuve, finishing his apology with, "and we will be back in the World Series," we don't want to hear that.
It's not relevant.
If you are, good for you, great, whatever, but that's not what this is about. You are not trying to hype up your own fan base. You are not trying to justify what you did. An apology does not end with a justification. A genuine apology is that you are truly remorseful for what you did. And you did not even get an ounce of that from anyone who spoke.
Well, you thought you did.
You thought you did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I said it with Carlos Correa. Remember, I texted you guys.
And I knew he was too much of a scumbag.
It seemed like it might
that.
have been genuine.
Yeah.
I take that back.
You know who didn't speak, and I actually think and maybe he did, I just didn't hear it. He just seems like a very genuine guy. And I told you I watched a special on him, Springer. Did he have any quotes?
He did. He spoke, but it was nothing.
He just seems like a very good guy, humble guy. He has a speech impediment.
Was
he works with kids.
The one bailing out Beltran, how it's not all.
No,
on
that's
Beltran.
Correa.
That was Correa.
Yeah, we have that clip.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do something a little bit different today.
It's gonna be fun, actually. Stick with us.
There's a lot of audio that we're actually gonna play from various press conferences throughout the week. And we're going to react to it. This is something I think we should do a little bit more often.
Absolutely.
We're going to start cutting some audio for the show when it's necessary. We're going to have comments from not only Jim Jackass Crane and
hate his guts now.
Alex the douchebag Bregman and
Correa, obviously.
Altuve.
We'll hear from Cole.
Garrett Cole, baby.
Oh yeah, check out this shirt, man. Holy shit. Be like everyone else right now.
Go to NYYSportsTalk.com. Go to shop. Get the shirt. Chris was supposed to put up a code for everybody.
I know. I will do it this week. I promise. I got a little crazy last week.
A little crazy. And we will be dropping a new shirt this week.
Monday.
On Monday.
It's going to be phenomenal.
Boom.
Boom.
You know that Adam Cole, the inspiration for this shirt.
He bought one.
Did he?
No.
Is he going to wear it to the ring tomorrow night? He's got a huge match versus Tommaso Ciampa tomorrow night. Yeah, we're recording on Saturday night, so I can be home and watch NXT TakeOver tomorrow. I'll see our boy Adam Cole face Tommaso Ciampa for the title. Okay?
All right, let's get into shit before we start losing people.
People like to get lost. They get lost in Ryan's
Are we going to do the rules first before we get into
it? Let's just do this, bro.
You want to just get into this shit first?
Just get in. Let's dive deep into this shit first.
All right. So, you like my setup here of my timeline of everything and
how's it going?
We'll start with Crane. I think that was like I think Jim Crane's comments were really what sparked everything from there. And I think it set the tone. Okay. This is the owner of the Houston Astros speaking on Apology Day or whatever day it was.
Apology Day. I like
Apology Day.
Apology Day.
Our opinion is, that this didn't impact the game. We had a good team. We won the World Series, and we'll leave it at that.
Did you say you feel like this didn't impact the game?
No.
And what do you mean by that?
I didn't say it didn't impact the game. Basically, as the commissioner said in his report, he's not going to go backwards. It's hard to determine how it impacted the game, if it impacted the game, and that's what we're going to leave.
Okay. We talked about this before we came on air. Christian did make a point a few weeks ago that this wasn't as bad as some other scandals because you can't quantify it. You can't put, the value of what they did, the impact of it. I like that, Ryan. Ryan's got impact up on Google.
I just want to understand what the
of
word
how much it impacted and influenced the game one way or the other. However, again, not the time to justify or make excuses for what happened.
Okay. While I stand by that you cannot actually quantify how much of an impact this had on specific games and them actually winning the World Series, the fact that they went through the lengths that they did to do this obviously benefited them in some friggin' way.
So I didn't put this clip in, but then someone said, well, why are you apologizing then? And he said, well, because broke the rules. Yeah, okay. You know what? And I tweeted this out also yesterday. Now, Jim Crane, to me, at first I was like, you know what? Jim Crane did the right thing. He fired Luhnow. He fired Hinch. Guess what? Now he's just a coward to me. Now he just did that for what? Why fire them and then sit in front of a camera and say, but, it didn't really impact the game? If it didn't really impact the game, why did you get rid of one of the game's best managers? Why? And I'm telling you right now, here's where we're going to start to find out more about all this. I'm telling you right now, if you listen to Hinch's interview with, who was it?
Yeah, it was on MLB Network.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Verducci?
Yes, Verducci. If you listen to that interview, it truly seems like you're listening to a guy who...
I got a hideous pimple on my face, and it's really bothering me seeing it on camera.
It truly sounds like you're listening to a guy who knows he's getting his job back in a year, and he's being protective of the team. He's watching what he says. If the Astros then go and write him off, you might hear a lot more come out of AJ Hinch.
It was so obvious. I mean, to me, it seemed obvious that they all planted the seeds to bring Hinch back when they only gave Dusty Baker a 1-year deal. He's a placeholder right now. That's all he is.
Ask me if I've ever done steroids.
Have you ever done steroids?
No, never.
Ask me if I've ever done steroids.
Wait, hold on. Ask me if I've ever done steroids again.
Have you ever done steroids?
Well, I can't say that I have or haven't. My friends have investigated it, and they never found any needles in my house. So everything was cleared. Which one of those sounds like I definitely didn't do steroids?
The first one.
Okay. So when he's asked about the buzzers, all he had to say was...
Buzz.
All he had to say was, no, that never happened. Not under my watch. I didn't... If it did, I truly know nothing about it. Instead, he's like, well...
We got investigated for 3 months. The commissioner's office did as thorough of an investigation as anyone could imagine was possible. I know you mentioned about the emails and the texts and the messages, and well, whatever. He basically said that they did their investigation, and they found what they found.
Right, which is... I said this about Altuve saying the same thing. So for me, it's just like... And then he comes out... This is the worst part. He comes out the next day to justify his answer and says, no, they were never that. And Maggie Gray made this point on the Fan. What happened in a day that all of a sudden you're so matter of fact and you know for sure that buzzers weren't used? What happened in a day that now all of a sudden you're so confident that they weren't? This whole thing is shady, man. It's not just the smugness anymore. It's not just the cockiness. It's
not even the act itself at this point.
It's just truly, there's so much being hidden.
Yeah. Throughout everything.
You can tell we're not stupid. There's so much more to be told at this point. You want to go? We'll go into Cashman. And
you own the team, bro. Like you have to be the most contrite out of anybody.
Yes,
it's your team.
And you started off on the right path. You fired the 2 guys who were supposed to make sure that this shit didn't happen.
I will not stand for this. This will not happen as long as I own this team. Boom. That's it. Shut your mouth and go away.
And this actually goes back to my theory that MLB needed everyone involved in this gone so that they can get their bet money and from all the gambling and shit like that and to clear it all out. Because that's truly all this was at this point was just a show. You fired Hinch and Luhnow for show. Because you wouldn't be sitting here saying, oh, it didn't really impact the game. Oh, I didn't say that. Yeah, you did.
Like literally 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Speaking of 13, A-Rod buying the Mets.
We might have to get into that a little later.
Okay. So where do you want to go next here?
So Luhnow says that, and then Cashman and Boone. Jim Crane says that. Cashman and Boone are asked about it. We have a couple clips of that now of their response to what Crane said.
Aaron Boone.
Booner.
I definitely think it had an effect on things without question. We're certainly the Houston Astros were dealing with a distinct advantage more so than their opponents. That's a fact. So I don't think anybody can disagree with that, even though they may try. So.
Well, they knew about it.
I mean, I think that's quite a stretch, I think. Clearly on what level did it impact things? I guess we'll never know, and that's for people to draw their own conclusions on. But I think clearly when we're talking about some of the things that went on, those things have an effect on games, clearly.
And that's pretty much what I've been saying, is that you can't really know how it affected games, but it did something. You don't go through these measures for something that doesn't do anything for you.
Why were you doing it? Was Cashman on a tarmac when he was?
No, they didn't. People were. I was trying to watch a couple of different clips of it to get the better audio, and people were just they were scattered around recording with their cell phones, so there was really no great audio of it.
First thing I'll say about Boone this whole entire week, whether it be about the cheating or anything else, you ask yourself why Boone was hired when he was hired a couple years ago. These answers he gives are just such a big part of it. The way he answers questions, he's true, he's raw, he's genuine, but he knows where to appropriately kind of hone it in. And that's my word today, by the way. I said it 400 times.
Hone?
I've said it like all day today for some reason. I think this whole week just shows the character of Boone beyond a manager of this team also. And then he says stuff like that. What was the other clip you sent today that he did? Someone asked about Cole and he said,
who?
Who?
And I tweeted the video of him saying, "Sup, yo," and people were like, people were like up in arms about it, like, "Oh, that's disrespectful." And I'm
For
like,
what?
I'm like, dude, the guy
disrespectful to who?
Like,
Come on, dude.
as a major league manager to act like that
Jesus
at a press
Christ.
conference.
It's really terrible. It's going to ruin
And
the sport.
I'm like, dude, the guy's showing a little personality in spring training. Like, he doesn't have to walk around with a stick up his ass all the time.
Yeah. So in the next clip, and obviously Cashman and Boone were to the point. They're not looking for some apology where they have a written apology from the Astros. All they were hoping for was what everyone else was hoping for them to just own up to it.
Accountability.
That's it. And they didn't. Yep. But then the next clip here, we have Cole being asked what he knew and if he had to talk with the teammates, which is what we talked about with Dan Federico a few weeks ago. Would Cole have to kind of
Ryan was on
clear the
assignment
air
that week.
Yeah, we said that with Dan. Like, I asked, do you think Cole feels like he has to clear the air with any guys? And that was actually asked in this clip. That's what he's responding to in this next clip.
Garrett Cole,
baby.
I haven't gotten any vibes like that. I mean, certainly, these are my teammates, so we'll have many conversations along the way. And if that happens to be one of them, I mean, I'll just give them an honest answer, which is, I had no idea of any of it going on, and I didn't see any of it, and so I certainly really don't think I have much to apologize for. So,
all right, let's take this from this perspective. A, if he's lying and he knew that stuff was going on in the last 2 years, do you care that he just lied and said he didn't know anything?
I kind of do a little, but you also don't know at this point what he's being told to say. If he is holding back, would it be different if let's just say Garrett Cole never got signed and he's being asked this at a press conference. If he did know things, would he be able to say it? I truly, from what we've heard about Garrett Cole, Joe Rivera, who is very close to the scene on all of this, talks about what a stand-up.
Joe Rivera's birthday today.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday,
I reached
Joe.
out to him. Talked about what a stand-up guy Garrett Cole is, and he sounded extremely genuine, which kind of takes me to another point. He was asked about the buzzers also, and he said absolutely not. I mean, to his knowledge, none of that was going on. And you know what? You got to take that for what it is. If we're gonna sit here and say Cole's a stand-up guy, he's our guy, we believe him, then you got to believe him. And maybe there wasn't buzzers. I don't really know, but right now I'm gonna give Garrett Cole the benefit of the doubt because he seems like a genuine person.
I didn't believe what he was saying, but really, I don't really care because one, he wasn't a part of that 2017 Astros team.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
And another one is the fact that, well, since he wasn't a part of that team, then he doesn't have to speak for those actions that they're being grilled for, and he's got to move on and prep for this season where they don't have that luxury. He wasn't truly on that roster. Yeah, he was on it post the cheating scandal. But now he's on the Yankees and he's got to focus on being their ace.
Do you think if more shit comes out that they were clearly cheating in 18 and 19, that the Astros could get spiteful and be like, yeah, well, all the pitchers knew about it. Cole knew about it. And he lied to you.
Especially if there's suspensions that come from
this
it.
Shit could really could blow up beyond what we think.
I really don't care if he is lying because
same.
He's here. This should be his focus now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And do you really think guys are harboring resentment towards him in that clubhouse?
And if anyone was doing their part, especially in this past season, it was Garrett Cole. That guy, he had the best pitching performance in the postseason.
I would say the same thing if he wasn't a Yankee. If he was on another team, and I actually took the time to hear what a genuine person he was, I'd say the same thing at this point. He's got to do what he's got to do now for his family, and he's moved on. He wasn't on the 2017 team, so if he is lying, you're right. And that goes back to my point of we don't know what is in place that he's just being told to hold back if he has to. I don't know.
I mean, do you think Stan's going to walk in this week when he has to report and be like, yo, screw you, Cole. I know you're lying. You guys were up to some shit last year.
No.
I mean, it makes us look biased, though, because he's on the Yankees. But really, if you just look at it, he wasn't on that 2017 team.
Yeah.
So why does he have to speak for it?
Yeah, but I think they're trying.
He can address it.
Going on because there's an assumption around the league that they were doing stuff in the last 2 years as well.
Right.
So that's what people are asking him about.
But is it his responsibility? Is that his responsibility?
No.
What's his responsibility? To pitch for the Yankees?
Games and to win a championship.
So,
the New York Yankees.
Is it maybe if more info comes out and we look back on this, does it shine him in the greatest light?
And I really hope that people took the time to not just focus on this, all the questioning of the scandal, and listen to, what was it, like a 9-minute presser he had, where he was kind of asked questions about him with his new teammates, and
really good stuff.
Just every answer is
Yes
just
Network is trying to
unbelievable.
Put together little special with him and David Cohn and talk pitching.
That's
for
cool.
A half hour.
Should be him.
He's a young guy who has all the leadership qualities you'd hope for. He doesn't seem intimidated that he's new. He's just like, look, I got to communicate as much as I possibly can, and in turn, start to fit in and be comfortable, and that's when he can kind of lead where he needs to lead and give his knowledge. He's one of the best pitchers in the game.
Well, this is what people were saying yesterday, that if the Astros were up to something, he had to have known, because Garrett Cole is not the type of guy that goes and sits in the corner locker and nobody knows he's there. That he's very involved. He likes to assimilate himself into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So,
which is big. The Yankees love that shit.
So I don't know. If he knew something, he knew something, and if he lied about it, he lied about it. But to me, it doesn't matter.
You know what I really
the issue.
What I really like about Cole, and it again goes back to just him as a genuine person. When he talked about those guys, he genuinely was saying, they were my teammates. They messed up. He wasn't talking about them like they were some scummy people. He had every right to, if he really wanted to, but he didn't say anything like that. And I think that says a lot too on his end. But the next few clips we have now, and I guess we'll bullshit after each one, is kind of the three big, and I air quote here, apologies from Bregman, Altuve, and Correa. And then of course the big splash with what Bellinger said, and we'll go into all that. But we'll start with Bregman's beautiful.
This was his only gesture the whole speech.
Yeah, his beautiful handwritten apology, which I asked my wife. I said, hypothetically, if I cheated on you and you were giving me a chance to apologize, but I came to you with a written
essay,
had
a month to prepare your apology.
I had a month, and I came to you with a written apology and read it off a piece of paper. Would that seem genuine to you?
And immediately looked down at the paper right after starting it. So there's none of it.
It actually blew away, and I was like, oh, man.
Imagine.
And then someone grabbed it.
Bregman did this? I didn't see the video.
Yeah. All right, so here's Bregman's bullshit apology.
Ew.
I have some brief remarks that I'd like to share with y'all.
So do I. Shut your mouth.
I am really sorry.
No, you're not.
I am really sorry.
The choices
that
were made by my team,
but not him,
by the organization, and by me.
Oh, okay.
I've learned from this.
No, you haven't.
and I hope to regain the trust of baseball fans.
You're a douchebag.
I would also like to thank the Astros fans for all of their support.
We're being delusional assholes.
We as a team are totally focused
Can he only
on
read
moving
3 words at a
forward
time?
Yeah.
to the 2020
It's like a
season.
haiku.
Thank you.
It sounded like Barack Obama sat with him today.
The team.
I apologize.
We apologize
He was a great
to the
speaker.
fans.
You do an Obama impression?
That was somewhat.
No, you had a good
I have
Obama.
to hear. I haven't heard him in a while, so I can't.
Today.
Garrett Cole. I might
apologize.
be able to get a good impression of Cole. He sounds like.
But
recognizable.
he had his breaks like Obama
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That's how
He was
Obama spoke.
He was public speaking there.
Exactly. That was a great public speech. Wasn't a great fucking apology. Reading off a piece of paper.
Because those moments require, in the sports world, that kind of moment. I'll reference how LeBron James handled the
I'd
Kobe.
like to read a
Hold on.
prepared... Oh, go ahead.
when LeBron gave that speech when
Kobe? Off
the cuff.
with Kobe, he took the speech and he threw it away because he knew that moment wasn't going to be genuine with a speech in his hand, with a piece of paper in his
Right.
hand. He had to give it from the heart, and he knows as a leader of the sport that he had to do his part. And then what does Bregman do? And he's a leader of the sport, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely.
He is. What does he do? He reads a brief statement.
Can you not fuck with that?
All right, can I do my Alex Bregman impersonation?
Yeah, go for it. But you got to put your hands like this because that's all he did.
Well, I can't.
He had it on a podium.
Okay.
Here, I'll hold it for you like the podium.
Okay. I'd like to repeat. I would like to read a statement.
That I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
But I think we're being a little
like-
unfair because whether he wrote that or someone else wrote it for him,
Somebody wrote it for him.
he still sat in front of a camera and said what we did was wrong. And I'll give him at least credit for that.
I give him
Was it
enough.
genuine? No.
I give him 0
Was it
credit.
genuine? No. Is he a fucking asshole? Yeah, I truly believe he is. I never liked him. But at least those words came out of his
At
mouth
least it was an
in front
attempt,
of
I
a camera.
guess.
And he didn't attempt to justify anything
Very
he did.
poor attempt.
And he thanked the support of his home crowd, which is what you're supposed to say through all of it, and not say, we're going to win this for you this year, but like everyone else. So I'll give him the credit in that, at least. Okay, here's a bit of Altuve's apology now.
That came right after Bregman.
Yes.
It definitely is going to help us. You know, we are baseball players.
I don't think that's
we
it,
have a
right?
lot of stars here. We have a lot of great players here. But don't forget we're humans, you know, and life is about, you know, making mistakes and learn from that, you know. I guarantee you this is not going to happen again, you know. Yes, we made a mistake. We did what we did. But that doesn't make us a bad person.
Can I
we're gonna learn
say
from this,
something
and we're gonna move
I
forward.
don't care what anyone else has to say. They keep saying we made a mistake.
No.
That's not what.
Yeah,
he's
no,
saying.
that's what they're saying, but no, it's
But
just
there, when you phrase it like that, I made a mistake. Like, if like, let's just say like, I punched you in the face one time,
Like
just
Ryan.
one time, because and then I could quantify that as a mistake because I did it once. I felt remorse for doing it one time,
right.
and that was it. But when you have systematic cheating where it goes on game after game after game after game, and it's up in the hierarchy of the organization, that's not a mistake. That's not a mistake.
Each bang was a mistake.
Think of it like this.
You can't just go around saying we made a mistake. No, you didn't, dude. You cheated. You had a whole system in place to cheat. That's not a mistake. A mistake is
one game you did something and
one game, like you get pissed off, like Verlander gets pissed off, beans somebody in the head, the guy has a concussion, never plays again. But you can call that a mistake. You did it
not
one
a mistake
time.
Anyway. If you're continuously doing something that you
That's
know
not
is wrong,
a mistake. That's not a mistake.
Right? It's not a mistake. You're doing something that you clearly know is wrong. It's a decision. A mistake is done by accident.
Yeah. You were deciding to continue to cheat.
And here's something that I said today.
But you can even say, you know what, guys? We've made a decision to cheat. It was a mistake to do it that way. If we did it, it was a mistake to do
that
it
decision
that
was
day.
a mistake.
Yeah, the
then
decision.
you did it again.
The
That's
act.
no longer a mistake. It's no longer a mistake at that point.
Here's my point on everything, and here's where I think a lot more shit's going to continue to come out. Think of it this way. Whether this investigation proves that they were doing anything in 18 or 19, think of it this way. You're just got accepted to college. It's your freshman year. And you find a way to cheat. You find a way around the system. You cheat in all your classes. You get straight A's. You're at the top of your class. Sophomore year, are you going to just stop doing that? No one knew about it. Maybe there was some talk, so maybe you have to adjust and get better and be a little more. But if it's not made a big deal at that moment, are you just going to all of a sudden stop cheating when it was so successful for you? Why would you stop?
And especially, what if you did stop and it's not working, and then it's like, oh, maybe I need to cheat again. So you start it up again.
Why would you stop at that point? There's no logical way you can sit here and tell me that they had any reason to stop doing this in 18 or 19. The only thing you can tell me is that they had reasons to adjust what they were doing and to get better at what they were doing. And really, I don't care what investigation is done or what comes out. There's no way you can sit here and tell me that they weren't cheating in the subsequent years. And I have every right to feel that way because they have no credibility. And that's what they don't understand. That's where Correa, when we get into the Correa shit, that's where he really bothers me. He thinks he's owed something. He sits in front of the camera and says, you can't tell me this. We can tell you whatever the fuck we want. That's our right now. When you want to be truly apologetic, you take everything that is said and you suck it up and you just continue to apologize. Unless you're not truly sorry, which you can be the judge of that.
It doesn't seem like you're truly sorry.
Yeah. So now this is Correa apologizing, and he's kind of, I guess he's asked about Beltran, Carlos Beltran, and he was very defensive for him. I guess it was being said like maybe Beltran was the veteran and he was, I don't want to, I guess,
scapegoat.
Yeah, the best way to phrase it is like they were trying to imply that he was bullying the younger guys.
No, that's exactly what they were trying to say.
And so Correa got defensive for him, and this is what he had to say about it.
The thing I have a problem with is when I read that report is that we were scared of him or we felt intimidated. We didn't feel scared of Beltran. We didn't feel intimidated. He was the nicest guy that we could ever have. He was the best teammate we've ever had. Beltran was obviously a leader of the clubhouse, but we all had a say in everything.
We all decided we were going to cheat.
And whatever he said and whatever we were doing, we had the chance to stop it as a team. Everybody had the chance to say something, and we did it. So whoever the anonymous source is that's saying that we felt intimidated or we were too young to say something, that's just straight up bullshit. Beltran didn't intimidate nobody. Beltran's the nicest guy.
Oh, it'll get worse.
And I know Puerto Rican people will say, oh, he's just trying to protect him, but you can talk to every single guy here that was in 2017. Beltran is an unbelievable gentleman. He's a straight up gentleman, and nobody, not even you guys, nobody will feel intimidated by his presence, by his leadership, and whatever he has to say. He showed us how to play baseball hard. He was a veteran. He was inspiring whenever we were slumping. He was there for us. So I don't see a person that's your mentor and is there for you when you're struggling as an intimidating person. So yeah, not intimidating.
Okay, real quick. I mean, at that point you're like, wow, Correa was I kind of liked what he had to say there. Ryan,
yeah, I liked it.
You texted me after all this, and I was shocked. I'm like, really? Correa is going to be the one guy who actually comes out of this sounding somewhat genuine, defending a guy and saying, no, we had every chance we could to say no, but we continue. I was like, wow, maybe Correa is not the guy I thought he was. And then,
hold on a second. Here is a point about Carlos Beltran, right? Where did he come from before he went to the Houston Astros the second time? Because we all remember he was in
the Yankees.
Okay, right. So when he got there, he had told them that you guys have to catch up with the times for to paraphrase in terms of because apparently everybody was doing something, right? And they told him that you had to catch up with the times.
Mm-hmm.
So leading people to believe that the Yankees were up to something while he was there with the Yankees. Now, meanwhile, the Yankees were terrible for their standards when Carlos Beltran was there. So
Right.
whatever he was, if they were up to anything, it really didn't work out too well for them.
Right.
And number two, why are the Astros in trouble? Why are the Astros in trouble?
Because they got caught.
No, not because they got caught. What did they do that no one else apparently
Oh, they
did?
won the World Series.
Broke the rules.
No. They continued to do it after
Right.
they were told to stop.
Oh, with the replay room and shit like that. Yeah.
When the commission,
In 2018.
Okay, so when the commissioner said in 2017, September 2017 or August, or whenever he handed out that memo and said, you guys need to cut all this crap out, no more stealing signs with electronics, the Astros are the ones that continued to do it.
They just got creative.
So
They got creative.
So for Astro fans that want to be like, oh, well, the Yankees did it too, probably 25 of the other teams were doing shit, but they all stopped, except for maybe the Red Sox, when they were told to stop.
Yep.
So you want to say that it was still breaking the law, but there was no law in place that said you couldn't do anything about it.
That's the biggest difference here. So we all know at this point what Clay Bellinger had to say. Cody, sorry. I'm going to play that clip, which kind of, I mean, I guess he could have held back a little, but I'm happy he said what he said because it's what everyone's thinking. And then after that, I have Correa's two responses that just took this to a whole nother level.
Let's react to Bellinger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thought the apologies were whatever. I thought Jim Crane's was weak.
Takes a shot at Manfred.
Manfred's punishment was weak, giving him immunity. I mean, these guys were cheating for 3 years. I think what people don't realize is Altuve stole an MVP from Judge.
Stolen.
17.
Stole it even without the
everyone
cheating.
knows they stole the ring from us. I know personally I lost respect for those guys. I think I would say everyone in the show, in the big leagues, lost respect for those guys. I don't know what human hits a walk-off home run against Aroldis Chapman to send your team to the World Series. And one has the thought to say, don't rip my jersey off, but two, go in the tunnel, change your shirt, and then come out and do your interview. Like that makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense to me because I know me. Gary Sanchez said yesterday, you can rip my shirt off, my pants off. I sent my team the World Series off for Aroldis Chapman in the ninth inning at home. You can do, I'm going crazy.
When Cody Bellinger, who is really one of the faces of baseball,
Who's
right
being
now,
regarded, if you see all the new rankings, he's being regarded as a top 3 player in the sport right now.
when he says everyone else in the show lost respect for those guys, I mean, you gotta hold something behind that. I mean, you gotta believe that's pretty true. And did he have to say all those things? No. Am I glad he did? Yes. And did he have every right to say and feel those things? Absolutely. And if you're sorry for what you did, you don't get defensive when you hear those statements. And I'm sorry. You just don't. But one thing he said, and I just want to touch on this again. He talked about the players shouldn't have gotten immunity. And I keep thinking about all this. Just think about this. You look at Michael Vick, right? Do you hate Michael Vick for what he did?
I do.
You've lost maybe some the respect for him, but I think in his instance you can look back on it and say that he was held accountable for his actions,
and he did his time, and he seems like he learned from it, right?
That's great and everything.
Okay,
you have to forgive him for it.
But here's my no. You absolutely don't ever have to forgive him for it.
But it seemed like he was accountable for those actions.
But he did. He got punished appropriately,
right?
And
Yeah,
I do feel that way.
And you have people now who say, "But you know what? He did his time. We got to move on. We got to give him a second chance." Right? I don't want these guys to do time because every time
you want them to go to jail.
No. I'm saying I don't want them to get penalized because then moving forward, everyone could say, "All right, guys, come on. They took the fines. They took the suspensions. It's over with. move on from it. They learn from it.
But what is the logistics of if you were going to suspend these guys? What would be the logistics of it? You just suspend everybody to start the season?
I don't know.
And then the Houston Astros AAA team is playing the first 40 games. Of the year?
I don't know.
You stagger the suspensions?
It wouldn't make sense. But my point behind it is every time Jose Altuve steps up to the plate for the rest of his career, you can sit here and say he didn't do shit. He didn't pay the price for anything. He wasn't even remorseful when he made his apology. He probably is still cheating, right? You can say that every time. He loses credibility every time he steps up to the plate now. Every single time. And I'd rather that than see these guys pay a price and hear people be able to justify and defend them now. I'm glad it's this way.
I have a newfound respect for Cody Bellinger because he went up to bat for our boy, but I didn't need Cody Bellinger to come out and say that some cheating scandal stole the MVP from Aaron Judge because we knew that happened the second the voting was released.
And here's the thing. There's no way to even justify Judge still not winning it.
I looked at the numbers again today. I sent them to you. What 2 categories out of 15 that this person had listed? What 2 categories did Altuve best judge in? Batting average, which apparently doesn't
matter,
anything,
right? And strikeouts.
And strikeout percentage.
Okay, and the WAR that they showed in that graphic was a tie. The other 2 WARs that they take into account, Judge actually has better than him. So this was my point when DJ LeMahieu wasn't a finalist for MVP, and it was who got
Jose
the nod?
Ramirez?
No, who got
was
the nod?
somebody from Oakland?
Yeah, it was
Chapman. No, it was Marcus Semien.
Yeah, Semien. Everyone's fight back to anyone trying to justify DJ being a finalist was his WAR's better. His WAR's better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to 2017. Judge, by your justification here, Judge should have won MVP.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, yeah, the writers were just stupid that year. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. There's no way you can unbiasedly tell me Altuve deserved the MVP in 2017. Now you take into the whole cheating thing. Just imagine how much better Judge would have been.
Trevor Bauer brings this up that losing the MVP cost Aaron Judge millions of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you go into arbitration, when you
need everything behind you.
You're arbitrating. I don't even know if that's a word. Negotiating with a former MVP that adds zeros to that check you're writing.
Crazy. I mean, just the trickle effect on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor Bauer, you can say whatever you want about him. He's got a no fucks given attitude towards this whole thing, and I'm here for it. I really am.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the first guy to publicly come out
and
call them out on their bullshit.
And I don't think that Houston is playing either the Dodgers or Cincinnati this year because they're playing, I believe, the NL East because I know they are playing the Mets this year. So maybe it is kind of easy for guys like Bauer and Bellinger to run their mouths knowing that they won't face Houston. I mean, Ryan can look up the schedule.
Yeah,
just
but
to
Bauer
verify
still
that.
would have anyway.
Bauer doesn't care.
Do you know what really? I mean, the Astros had such an opportunity here to do and say the right things, and for us to all sit back and be like, at the end of the day, if you still want to be pissed, fine. But at the end of the day, we could have sat back and said MLB knew all of this shit. And at the end of the day, maybe they would have been the ones who should have been held accountable for just turning a blind eye to it. But they failed miserably on this opportunity.
Chris, you're hearing Astro fans, say that the Astros are being like unfairly targeted.
What?
Okay, let me explain something. I know if we have one Houston Astro fan that listens to this show, that's a lot. Let me explain something to you. You think that the Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred wants this to be consuming the talk of the sport?
No. That's why we had this bullshit playoff proposal come out.
Yeah, that's the point I want to make later in the show if I can.
The reason why this has become a thing now is because Mike Fiers opened his mouth and they couldn't avoid it any further. If Mike Fiers... first of all, everybody knows that people knew things, and Major League Baseball, just like with the steroids, was like, yeah, okay. All right? But because Mike Fiers now, an active player that played on that team, went and ran his mouth and said all this stuff happened, they were forced to do something about it.
He's the Ken Caminiti of the cheating.
They don't want this to consume baseball talk. They were in spring training now. Instead of talking about Garrett Cole's bullpen and how Aroldis Chapman looked, and Sevy and Masahiro Tanaka and Aaron Boone out there, what are we talking about? We're doing 45. We're doing almost an hour
because we have to
on the Houston Astros cheating. Still. You think Major League Baseball wants this? They're not being unfairly targeted. They friggin' cheated. I still don't want to see the title taken away, but at this point, what else are you gonna do? Because of their friggin' attitudes toward this whole thing.
Yeah, it's just such a bad look for Major League Baseball in general, because they, how these penalties were given out and the players given immunity. In turn, it was supposed to be, but you're gonna hold yourselves accountable now, and they just listening. If you've lasted this long so far with the show, you think, wow, this shit hit the fan, right? It couldn't get any worse.
Oh, then Carlos Correa decided he was going to open his mouth and respond to what Cody Bellinger had to say.
So here's his two responses. I believe the first one I have, he talks not only quickly about Bellinger, but then goes into Mike Fiers doing what he did. And then the most recent clip is when he just truly attacks Bellinger at this point.
One of them, he was talking to Ken Rosendahl on MLB Network, and the other one, he was in a pool with a pool of reporters in the locker room.
Yeah. So take a listen to this and tell me if this sounds like a guy who's sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I had no problem when people talk about, what happened during the regular season of 2017. Whatever people have to say, we gotta take that on the chin. Guys, I mean, it was wrong. It was wrong. We gotta own that. We gotta take that. But when you stand in front of the camera and you don't know the facts, you don't know what happened, you're not informed, and you try to rip one of my teammates like that when we all know, even Mike Fiers know that Altuve didn't use the trash can. And you guys are gonna find out, because I'm sure somebody's gonna ask him, and he's gonna tell everybody. He's gonna tell the world that Altuve didn't use it. Because if he's man enough to, tell the truth and tell the story and break the story, he should be man enough to say that the MVP of 2017 didn't use it. He should be man enough to say that. Because we all in that clubhouse know that Altuve's integrity is going to be intact because of what was said today.
Okay, here's the second clip.
Like I said before, what doesn't sit well with me is when you say false statements. If you don't know the facts, if you're not informed, this is America, Ken. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But Cody Bellinger's job is to look for information, get informed, know the facts for sure before he stands in front of cameras to talk about other players. You should get informed. You should be informed before you talk about other players. If you don't know the facts, then you got to shut the
Okay, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. No one has to do anything. No one has to learn any information because you guys are the ones who fucking kept it from everyone because you were cheating. So take your smugness and go fucking shove it up your ass.
It's deflection. What
It's
he's
unreal.
doing is deflecting. That's what you do when you're being accused of something. You deflect it and try to flip it onto a different story. No, that's not the story. Cody Bellinger not having the facts isn't the story. The story is that you cheated.
And here's how much full of shit they are. And this is not even about 2017. This is about post Chapman home run, right? What was the initial reason why we were told that he didn't want to rip his shirt off? Because his wife,
he's shy.
He's shy, and his wife
would get mad.
yelled at him, right? Then all of a sudden today, it just happened to be that he had a really ugly unfinished tattoo on it.
Dig.
I mean, like, if that's the case, if I was Jose Altuve, and that's the case, then I would be on camera the next day with my shirt off saying, look, guys, here's my tattoo. Here it is.
Yeah.
Because Yeah, he could have easily gotten a tattoo 2 days ago or a month or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if my teammate comes out and says, "Oh, well, he didn't want to rip his shirt off because he was embarrassed by this half-assed tattoo he had," the first thing I'm doing is be like, "Yeah, dude, here's the tattoo," because I guarantee you know how many people that would shut up. He had the evidence.
That is an
to
ugly
back it up.
tattoo. You're right.
Can I ask you a question?
He had the evidence to back it up. So if tomorrow I don't see that tattoo, I further know what bullshitters and liars they are.
Can I ask you a question? You're in the middle of a pennant race. You're a couple games away from winning the pennant, going to the World Series. You're actually probably in New York at this point, 2 days prior to that walk-off, correct? You are. You're in New York because they didn't even have a day off. Are you out getting a tattoo on your shoulder? What was it?
He said it was on his collarbone.
Okay, so you...
I mean, he could have easily had it done
Have you ever had a tattoo?
On an off day.
You ever have a tattoo before?
No, I don't have a tattoo.
Okay. Do you know the complications that can come with a tattoo, first of all? And second of all, the kind of irritation and pain that could cause? And why would you ever want to do anything to irritate any part of your, especially upper body, as a second baseman, as a big-time hitter for your team? Why would an organization even allow something? Why would you even be thinking about getting a tattoo on your collarbone in the middle of the ALCS?
Well, we know that using your brain isn't exactly a strong suit.
I'm just saying, let's just try and realistically put a timeline on when he had time to just go out and get a tattoo that was half finished.
Well, apparently he had to have done it at some point during the season because
in New York. They said it was 2 days before.
Did they? I didn't hear a timeline put on.
I thought did you say that, or I think you said that in your text.
No, I didn't.
Or in the tweet. I'll try and go back to it.
I never put a time on it because I don't know when. I never heard when he had gotten this supposed tattoo, but apparently there's a picture of him on a beach with his teammates in like July with no tattoo. So that I do know. I've seen that picture of him on a beach with his teammates in I believe it was July with no tattoo.
Crazy.
So again, yeah, you're right. Why are you getting tattoos during the season on your collarbone? That doesn't sound like it would be pleasant.
And it doesn't sound like it would be small either. No one gets I mean, maybe someone will, but just a tiny little tattoo on your collarbone.
Show me the tattoo. Show me the tattoo. If you're dragging my name through the mud, and I can easily show you proof that you're a liar. You lied about me, and I can easily show you proof. And why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I do it? This is Correa's words. He's got an unfinished tattoo on his collarbone that honestly looks terrible. It was a bad tattoo, and he didn't want nobody to see it. He didn't want to show it at all. You're a liar. You're so full of shit. It's not
unreal.
It's not even funny. So tell me, if that tattoo does exist, show me the tattoo. Show it to me, because you'll gain a lot of. I'm telling you right now, you'll gain a lot of credibility.
I don't think I would have just come up with this 2 days thing out of nowhere. I'm trying to find.
I don't remember saying that, but
when did he say this? Maybe it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
When was the story written? Actually, today at 5:50.
4 hours ago.
It's just.
What's the excuse?
You never thought it could get worse.
Because it doesn't absolve them from cheating, but you want to say that you didn't do anything past 2017? This would help prove that you didn't.
I mean, look at
and
how...
you want to... I'm sorry, Ryan, but if you want to go out there and drop your balls on the table, Carlos Correa, and say that Jose Altuve is some upstanding fucking citizen, that he didn't cheat. He did not cheat. This would go a long way in proving that he did not cheat in 2017 either. Because you're telling me this is proof that he didn't cheat in 2019. So show me the proof.
Yeah.
Show it to me. You guys have zero credibility. You can't come out with a statement saying this guy didn't want his shirt ripped off because he doesn't have he didn't want to show off his tattoo. Show me the tattoo then. Because you have zero credibility right now. None. No credibility.
I forgot about this too, that our boy Dan Federico tweeted and Ryan sent over. Josh Reddick says he doesn't feel like he needs to apologize to friends on other teams for what happened. Why? Because I just don't think it's necessary.
Where's he now? Where's Josh Reddick now? Is he in Oakland or is he still in Houston?
No one cares.
Reddick's in
because
Houston
he's
still.
a fucking loser.
I just want to know where he is right now.
He's with Houston.
Unreal, man.
Houston, okay. Is he still in Houston?
Yeah.
You just didn't think it could get worse.
No. Because you didn't think that they would handle the response as bad as they are. I mean, this is as bad as you can handle this. Take some accountability. I see absolutely none of it.
I'm telling you, Carlos Correa, bro, you really cannot come out there and say Jose Altuve did not cheat in 2017, okay?
And now you're telling us?
The MVP is legit. First of all, half of the country doesn't even think it's fucking legit because Aaron Judge got screwed out of it without even a cheating scandal, okay? That's number one. And number two, the other half of the country thinks it's bullshit because of the cheating scandal. So I understand that you want to go out there and defend your boy and say, hey, man, that MVP's legit, but why? What made Jose Altuve so special that he was like, oh, I'm not going to cheat? What was his home road splits in 2017? Because they're stark. I think
there's a huge difference in his home road splits in the postseason.
In the postseason, yes, absolutely.
But during the regular season, they were pretty similar.
Because
Jose Altuve.
Apparently they were cheating on the road too.
Oh yeah, that was what they keep bringing up, the code breaker thing. They're saying that they had nothing to do with code breaker, so that doesn't count as them cheating.
Oh my God! I don't want to talk about this anymore. But every day it just gets
They're giving
worse
us no choice.
and worse.
They're giving fans of the sport and those participants of the sport no choice.
Yeah, right there, 12up.com. It says Houston. It'll probably list.
Yeah, that's the postseason one, which is it's here we go. You want to read it?
Altuve's home road splits in the postseason. He batted .472 with a 1.028 slugging, 1,500 OPS at home. On the road, ready for this? 148 batting average, 229 slugging, and a 497 OPS.
Yeah, it's a difference.
And now we know what we know. Right?
Crazy.
Must have been the tattoo. He got on the road.
Look at Correa. 371 batting, 1.1 OPS at home during the postseason, 211 batting, 626 OPS on the road during the postseason. Can you? I mean, come on now.
They're trying to justify something that there's nothing there to justify.
Even Bregman, 273 batting, 857 OPS at home, 154 batting, 508 OPS on the road. I mean, something clearly was going on here.
Yeah. And there's just...
But Jose Altuve wasn't a part of it, guys.
But it didn't impact the game anyway.
It didn't impact the game.
And here's what just leaves you with such an unsettling feeling. The way things are being answered, it's just, there's so much that's not being said.
I don't want to sound like a hypocrite now because I've been on record numerous times on Twitter and on here saying I don't think the Yankees lost the ALCS in 2017 because of a cheating scandal. And I still don't because they didn't score any runs in Houston. If you're going to tell me the Houston pitchers were cheating, then I'm going to feel fucking differently about it.
And we should take a second to discuss how ugly this can get on the field this year with every team they play.
Ryan, can you bring up David Robertson's quotes from the other day?
Sure.
I think I have them.
Because I would like to read those.
Yeah, pull them up there. I mean, you got a lot of guys who were angry about this. And again, the Astros just failed on the opportunity given to them to try and make this a little bit better where they could. And they just made it worse. How do you make this worse?
All right, this is from David Robertson, who was on the Yankees in 2017. He says, I got roughed up in Game 6, and I felt like in that game I threw as well as I ever thrown in my entire life. I had some pitches that I got hit that I was a little shocked by, and some pitches that didn't get swung at that I was a little shocked by. At this time, I wasn't thinking about what we know now, but it all comes together, and I'm upset about it, that's for sure. And what did he go on to say about and he goes on to say, I'm never going to get 2017 back. I can't say moving forward I'll never get to be in an LCS again, but I'll never get that season back with that group of guys and that opportunity to win a World Series.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I said this on Twitter also. I don't feel for David Robertson in the same way.
You always hated him anyway.
No. I love D-Rob.
You hated him.
No, I love him.
Curse his name out every time he came out of the bullpen.
I get where these guys are coming from. I get where these rookie pitchers are coming from. But I just go back to, and I'm not comparing people to Mariano Rivera, but I'm just going out and saying that if I want to play devil's advocate a little bit, Mo threw the same pitch over and over. Every batter knew what was coming. And he was the most successful relief pitcher we'll ever see. So don't sit here and put all of it behind them knowing. I get your frustration. I get it. But I just don't feel as bad for those pitchers as I do just bad about the whole situation in general. I'm not sitting here like, oh, poor David Robertson, poor rookie batters. Yeah, it's messed up. It's awful. It just takes us to another level. But my main focus is this is what happened. It was a whole big thing that's sickening to begin with. And now you have a whole organization who just made it worse. And Ryan, I know you wanted to touch on Verlander too. You want to talk about the most contradicting person in baseball. You know, he was so outspoken in 2016 with the whole steroids. I think it was
yeah, you want me to read that tweet?
It was Gordon, right?
2016. It might have been Ryan Braun.
Oh, I thought it was Gordon, but
he did take a shot at D. Gordon.
He did. I know he took a shot at him, but yeah, read that.
This is what he said in 2016 on steroids. If there is proven intent to cheat, you test positive, or it's found that you were taking an illegal substance, PEDs, and trying to cheat the system, trying to go around it, I think it should be a ban from baseball. That's what
does
he
he
said.
Still think if you're trying to cheat the system, it should be a ban?
But
or does he joke about it now?
Well, he joked about it at that whatever that event was.
Center, yeah.
What was his joke he made that we
that
know?
They're more technologically.
We all know.
Yeah, and everyone laughed at
yeah.
that joke. And then he said on Cody Bellinger's comments from when was that? Yesterday. He said, it bothers me that he and his teammates have lost respect. And then back in quotes, I think facts are still coming out. Information is still coming out. And I don't think that this thing is a thing that's done now.
So that just made it sound worse. Like
everything they're saying is making all of this worse.
It better not.
It's honestly, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Everything about this is just exhausting. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I mean, all of our listeners are expecting us to talk about it because they listen to us for our opinions and how we handle certain things. We got to talk about it. It's the biggest story in baseball still.
I know a lot of fans, the Yankee fans, think they were cheated out of the LCS in 2017, and they can feel that way. But I just remember those two games in Houston at 6 and 7. They weren't. They could have had friggin' 40 innings to try to score runs, and they probably wouldn't have done it. So
here's my favorite quote from a Yankee, Aroldis Chapman. I disagree with the Astros owner. I do believe it affected the games, in parentheses, sign stealing. But I can't go back at 2017, 2018, 2019. It's no time to look back. It's time to look ahead. And I think Boone kind of backed that in saying, yeah, it's messed up. We're angry, but we're not going to have that kind of culture in this clubhouse. We're going to just keep looking forward. And you hope that any payment that they're due, anything that the Astros are due, they're given in 2020 on the field by the New York Yankees. And they actually, we really have to try and get to a couple of these games. The Astros are in the Bronx in September this year.
Yeah, I looked at their schedule. They're not playing the Reds or the Dodgers this year.
And I just want to temper some fans' excitement that think that there's going to be brawls in every city that the Astros go to. Major League Baseball is going to put a friggin' stop to that before the first pitch is even thrown.
More immunity. More immunity. Listen, if you're a pitcher and you have control You're a veteran pitcher who has control, and you want to put a fastball between Jose Altuve's shoulder blades, you go and do it. You send your message. You back up your team. Don't be stupid. Don't throw at heads. Don't try and kill these guys.
You know the best.
But you want to send a message? Go ahead and do it.
The best message to send is just to beat them.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it? Because here's my argument to that.
Well, what do you want Luis Severino to
Here's
go out
my
there and
argument
do?
to that though. You can't control what the Astros do. You can't control that. They've taken an unfair advantage in the game. They hold zero credibility of if they're playing fairly.
You want Luis Severino to go out there and if first time he sees Altuve and hit him
I think
start balls and then
No. I think the Yankees are different. I think the Yankees have a different level on this now where their only payback that they need to worry about is if they face this team again in the playoffs. That's where I agree with you. But every other team, like Clevenger, he wants to be pissed off. Put one between Altuve's shoulder blades, bro.
He's injured.
You have every
He
right
might
to
not
do
be
it.
Pitching this year for a while.
Just my point. If you're feeling that way as a pitcher, if you feel you need to back up your team and this team fucked you over, do it. Just don't be stupid.
How funny is that?
Crazy. I have no problem with it. But the Yankees' focus and their only focus should be to beat the living hell out of this team.
That's great. So these guys didn't get suspended for cheating. You're going to take a ball into your hands, hit somebody, and get suspended yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point I want to make in all this, if I could get this out, because I've been thinking about this whole thing from one perspective, and it's not that what Houston did was terrible and it's bad for the game, but really the main problem with all of this is how Major League Baseball has handled the situation and how they're going to continue to handle the situation based on their track record. We talked about how they handled the steroid situation. What did they do? They tried throwing it under the rug, and the Mitchell report comes out. And now we're seeing it with Major League Baseball. And a lot of that has to do, you know what, I'll get into this. I want to do my own whole podcast on this. That'll be a little teaser of, because aren't we going to start doing 20-minute episodes? I want to release a whole podcast on my opinions on this because I can't really fledge it out right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and
because it's a lot. There's a lot to grasp in this entire thing. It all can tie into actually improving this sport. And baseball just doesn't see it that way.
Well, that's a hell of a segue. Are you, unless you have something you want to say?
I do. Just real quick. To Ryan's point there, I think it's pretty clear that the way this was all handled was, okay, there's definitely more that can come out, but we don't want you guys to really talk about it. Have your apologies, whatever. And then Bellinger says what he says, and Ryan, you made this point before. The Astros really weren't supposed to expand upon anything.
No, Major League Baseball told all teams to not address this topic when asked about it. Just throw it under the rug like we do.
Why?
Because of one word. And this is the main thing, what pisses me off with baseball. It's the word integrity and their fixation with that word. And that word alone is what is killing this sport. It's they're paralyzed by this word, and instead of focusing on the popularity, they're focusing on the integrity, and anything that can possibly damage that, they do whatever it takes to hide it. Steroids, they tried to hide it. This scandal, they tried to hide it. The players' response to this scandal, they're trying to hide that.
So, right, talk about integrity now, just like you brought up the Mitchell report and all the other things that came out after they said steroids were handled. What happens now that this just went to another extreme? Bellinger said what
Nothing
he said.
Nothing can happen.
No. But what happens now when tempers are at the height and now more shit starts coming out? What happens to the integrity of baseball?
It's going to get damaged.
But they just did a thorough investigation. I thought nothing else was there to be said.
But this will represent
That's why they don't want anyone to talk anymore. And now players are not only talking, but now they're going at each other's throats.
But I love that baseball told them not to talk on it. And you know, Bellinger or Turner said, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to suspend us? Because they didn't suspend the players that are actually involved, but you're going to fine or suspend us for talking about it? Is that really what you're going to do, Major League Baseball?
There's just clearly a lot more that we don't know that wasn't said that baseball knows.
But again, like we talked about this in a previous episode, right? That baseball kind of has to get with the times. But maybe it's because we always say baseball's a game, but it's also a business. But baseball's trying to change the game perspective of it, but not the business side of it. This is an entertainment business. right?
It's a business that is now
baseball
gambled on.
A form of entertainment?
It's a form of entertainment that if you live in New Jersey now, you can press one button,
right,
and risk your money on it now.
Yeah, there's so
that
much
takes
money.
it to
Billions
another
of
level.
dollars, billions of dollars. So now when you're doing that and you're investing all of this money and you're not punishing these guys, what do you expect is going to happen going forward?
It's exactly my point as to why they tried to just put it all on Hinch and Lunau and Beltran and Cora and get him out of the game. And they wanted the Astros to do their public apology so everyone would say, okay, it's over now. Let's move on.
Yes. And
nope.
But it's just the constant hiding of scandal and anything that could be some sort of controversy. It's got to stop. There's way too many examples of it, because if you look at it whenever, and it's always about integrity, the integrity of the game. I'm telling you, I looked into this a bit. Think about, remember when Terry Collins, and I want to tie this into the popularity of the sport and how MLB needs to focus on the character side of baseball, not the game itself, the business side of it. Remember that Terry Collins video from few years ago?
Yeah, they tried to hide it from everyone.
Yeah, and he was the manager of the Mets, and he's freaking out on the umpires. That was one of the greatest baseball-related videos I've seen in recent years. And what did Major League Baseball do with that video? Look it up. They tried to erase it from the internet. Last year, Aaron Boone, one of the best moments of the Yankee season was him freaking out on an umpire. The field was mic'd up, and he freaks out. What does Major League Baseball do then? They send Joe Torre to Yankee Stadium to reprimand Aaron Boone for what he did. They put him live on air with Michael Kay during the game to talk about how he didn't like how the Yankees represented the game. He even threw shade at the creator of the video that went viral. I won't say his name because he's a rival, right? And guess what happened with that guy? He's one of the most popular figures in baseball. So he took the controversy and he forgot about the integrity side of baseball and looked at what's going to make this sport popular. What's going to make me popular? And that's where baseball has lost me as a fan.
And guess what?
They got to get with the times. It's 2020.
And guess what? Major League Baseball says, don't show this video.
No.
You can't show this video. And then it gets leaked.
Exactly.
What do?
What's that called?
Oh, you better not sell shirts that say Savage.
The Streisand effect, I think they call that.
We're going to sell shirts that say Savage. We're going to make money on this now.
Right.
Wait, I thought you didn't want this content out there.
Look, I'll pull up this.
But now you're going to make money off of it?
Yeah. The Streisand effect is a phenomenon where an attempt to hide, remove, or censor a piece of info has the unintended consequence of publicizing the information more widely, usually facilitated by the internet. That's what's going on right now. But baseball needs to take this, instead of trying to hide it like they've always done in the past, they need to take it and use it to their advantage to increase the popularity. Let's get more mics on the field. Let's hear what these players have to keep responding and keep saying, because it adds character. And that's what at the entertainment business is. It's about stories. It's about characters. You didn't watch Breaking Bad because you liked fucking chemistry. You watch it because Walter White's one of the greatest characters ever
I'm a nerd.
created. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe, but still, we're
science, bitch.
Modern entertainment is built on viewership. It's built on being polarizing, and by limiting character and focusing on integrity, you're completely erasing that.
So you shouldn't throw up smoke screens after all this happens and try to take people's minds off of it?
So because we don't need to continually run 9.5 hour shows, so I think we can just segue into this as the last.
That was my segue.
I don't care. I do the segues here, and you don't even know what the word segue is. You think it's a
SEGWAY.
You think it's a scooter? Okay.
Learned something new today.
So, yeah, a lot of people are conspiracy theorists and say that this whole new proposal for the 2022 postseason is a smokescreen to get you to stop talking about the cheating scandal. Well, that worked real well. It worked.
It did until
for like 3 hours. Okay, they wanted to get you pissed off about something else. So basically, Major League Baseball wants to expand the postseason come 2017, right? They want to move from 5 to
2022, you mean?
Yes, 2022. They want to move from 5 to 7 teams, which I don't even really have that much of a problem with. My issue here, okay, the geniuses at Major League Baseball want to create a television event in which you will pick your opponent.
It's like LeBron choosing where he was going to play.
Okay. You will pick your opponent for the postseason. The division winner with the best record gets a bye. The division winner with the second best record would then pick get the first pick of opponents from the lower 3 wild card teams, and then the other division winner will get their pick, leaving the last 2 wild cards to play each other.
Okay.
Sounds stellar, right?
Sorry, Yankees Twitter, but I'm going to go here. The first thought that came to my mind was, why give Yankees Twitter another thing to bitch about? Could you imagine the Yankees choose to play like the A's or whatever and they get swept? What Twitter would be like? Why the fuck would you pick the A's? Why would you give fans another reason to just bitch about something? And why would you ever let a team choose their opponent?
Here's
what?
my problem with this.
What
they want
are
to create a reality TV sensation, destination type thing to draw people in. You know what I'm going to do? I don't care. I don't want to see this. If you want to expand the postseason, okay, you know what? You want to add 5 to 7 teams?
I don't like it, but
I don't care about that.
I don't care about that as much.
The fact that you want to let people... I don't even have the words to express my anger for this, how stupid it is that you can sit there and be the head of a multi-billion-dollar organization like Major League Baseball and think this is a good idea to let teams pick their opponents because you want to somehow think you're going to draw in viewership.
Okay, kind of goes back to what Ryan was just saying of building character. This is forced now. This is a forced way to draw another entertaining side to this. Let me ask you something. If this is clearly to play to the casual fan, what casual fan is going to really give a shit what team picks who? You just care about the game at that point.
Michael K makes a great point regarding the new format. Is that what is the best part about sports? Elimination games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you're adding in all these extra elimination games, which will most likely draw viewership, right? So I don't really have a problem with that. But if you really think that Joe Schmo, who watches 15 Yankee games a year, is going to now all of a sudden watch 100 because he's going to be so enamored that the fact that teams are going to pick their own opponents in the postseason, you're delusional.
Delusional. And it just takes away an element of any sport that you've played X amount of games. And in baseball's case, 162. Out of those 162 games, you win 84 of them and you make the playoffs. That number, where you stand, is your fate. You played this many games. You won this many games. You are now seeded to play this team. And that's your fate. And if you can beat them, great. But now we're taking that away. And it could be baseball, it could be football, it could be any sport. You're taking that away now.
You know what I hate?
You're making the regular season just pointless.
You know what I hate most about Major League Baseball right now?
Manfred?
Is that they're doing everything to cater to people that don't like baseball.
Yeah, but I forget who it was. They made a good point. It's because they know they don't need to cater to us anymore.
Right? They know they have us. That we're done. We're suckers.
We love baseball.
But
it's bullshit.
This isn't
hurts.
how you cater to a new up and coming fan. It's just not.
No.
And it's not length of game. It's the pace of the game. You want to speed up the pace of the game. You want to create more downtime, less downtime in between pitches. Do it in a non-gimmicky way. I have no problem with that. And when I lashed out about this on Twitter, somebody says, so baseball should never change. It should never evolve. I never said that.
No.
I never said that. You need to evolve and change with the times. I get it, and I have no problem with the wild card being added, a second wild card being added, going to 3 divisions, the DH. I have no problem with any of that because none of that shit was traditional. None of it was. But now you're doing these things
it's forced. It's forced and it's meaningless.
Who is going to sit there and watch this?
It's so funny. I'm not saying that
you and I are going to sit there and watch it because we're just
we're a different level,
stupid to to say no to it, because we're Yankee fans and they're going to be, let's say they have the second best record in the league this year. Of course, we're going to sit there and want to know who they're going to play in the postseason. Yeah. But again, like somebody like my father-in-law who casually watches baseball because I watch baseball, but really wouldn't know Aaron Judge if he was sitting next to him on the bus. Is he going to sit there and watch this?
Nope.
What interest of this is to him?
You know what's
You know what he's going to do? You know what a guy like that is going to do? Nap. Okay, because he's 76 years old. But you know what he's going to do? Hey, who are the Yankees playing in the postseason?
Yeah.
He's not going to watch it. He doesn't care.
Yep. And
so all you're going to do is get the people that you already have watching your sport to watch this bullshit.
Yep.
And you want to see Brian Cashman sitting in a war room?
You can't get it out.
You want to see Brian Cashman sitting in a war room going, oh, yeah.
Beep, boop, beep, boop. Well,
okay,
we won games against
the second pick. We're going to choose the
A's. We could play the A's, and then, but then Chris Davis hit .492 against us this year, so maybe we don't want to play the A's. The Red Sox. We were 15-3 against the Red Sox this year, but if we choose them and we lose, I'm going to get fired.
Here's the Yankees' answer. Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
They had the best record in baseball. Can we still play them, please?
I mean, come on. I can't.
This came up because you talked about pace of the game and different things you could try. It brought me back to one of Ryan's suggestions a couple months ago with the whole cheating stuff and how it could speed things up. I'm not saying it's definitely possible that people calling the fan listen to this show and hear what we say and whatever, but there were 2 instances this week that were literally verbatim out of our mouths that these guys called up. The first one was he called up about the Astros and he's like, I don't want the title to be stripped. I just want an asterisk there so that these guys have to answer questions for the rest of their lives as to why this title has an asterisk next to it, blah, blah, blah. And then another caller calls up and he goes, I think to avoid this whole cheating thing, maybe the catchers just don't give signs anymore. Mm-hmm. Maybe they wire up the pitcher and he has like a thing in his ear or any type of device where that's how they relay it. And that was one of Ryan's.
Yeah, there was also something Michael Kay said this week that we touched on. I can't remember. Christian, you sent
But these
that to
two
us
callers were like
ago.
Adamant and saying exactly what was coming out of our mouths. It was just funny to me, but I thought Ryan's idea was asinine with that because you're adding now more technology to a sport that we're trying to eliminate how we're relaying certain things. Maybe that is the future.
That's what it all comes down to, stealing the catcher's signs.
But I don't see what I don't understand about that is, wouldn't the batter hear the catcher?
Yeah, it couldn't be the catcher.
No, but this is something that needs to be invented. A great idea. We can't all just come up with a great idea. We just don't. It doesn't work that way. The person who invented the iPhone, not everyone was thinking about it. They invented the iPhone.
Steve Jobs.
They need to invent an idea, a way that there aren't any problems, that there aren't any questions.
Or
that's what needs to happen. We don't know what the answer is because we haven't found that solution.
Yeah, but dude, as creative as people can get to find ways around certain things, people will get creative to find ways to still cheat.
Of course, but then you gotta
2035. The Houston Astros
using drones,
intercepting the relay message of the signs being.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll never end. Christian said that a couple weeks ago. It'll just never end. At the end of the day, Major League Baseball has to stop being reactive, start being proactive, and that will never happen. It will never happen. No. We will always have these scandals.
I heard this. I think it was on Kay's show, and he made a great point. You really want to kind of cut some of this out. No more replay. No more replay.
Yeah.
Replay has to.
That's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely.
Not even no more replay, but do it like the NFL. You have to put somebody in the press box where there's no monitor, like 3 feet from wherever the players are.
Yep.
Upstairs, and quick call, boom, replay, yes or no.
Well, now they are miking up the umpires, right? Like they do in the NFL.
Yes.
To relay for the fans. But see, that's the thing. Instant replay was an instance in which a rule change was necessary to make the game better, not to make the game more viewable. That's where these rule changes aren't working for me because they're using them to make the game more popular. But maybe you should only focus on rules that make the game better.
I know it's so stupid to be like, to have any emotion about, but it actually, I hate the idea of an umpire having a mic to talk to the stadium. How awesome is it when the umpires get together, whether it be replay or just whatever, and then he just turns around, you just see him go.
Yeah, I like that.
And then the whole crowd just goes crazy, whatever the call may be.
Yeah, I
now
mean,
it's like, after review,
yeah,
his foot didn't touch the bag before the ball got there.
Well, they could maybe do it like hockey does it. They do a good job with challenges and how they relay
I just saw this tweet. 2 California Little Leagues ban the names of having the teams use the name Astros.
Good.
In response to the cheating scandal.
Boom. Love it.
The president of one of the California Little Leagues said that the parents are, quote, disgusted to have their children wear that name across their chest.
See, and this is where, because I feel like Major League Baseball dropped the ball with their punishment on the Houston Astros. So it seems like the way the players are reacting, the way the media is asking the questions, now we got a team banning the name Houston Astros. This is the punishment. This is how these guys are going to be punished. It's going to be that constant dialogue that never goes away. It's going to be up to us. It's going to be up to when one of player on that team tweets something, you comment a pun, you comment something that can relate to it and make it funny about the banging. But it's going to be on the media that has access to the players throughout baseball, not involved with the scandal, to continue to answer these questions because, again, Major League Baseball cannot shut you up because they didn't suspend any players, so they have no right. And I bet that's going to be the story I look most forward to when all of these players continue to talk about it, when all of these guys like Rosenthal, which you got to give him credit. That was Rosenthal who was interviewing Correa there.
Yeah.
You got to give him credit for grilling him, but that's what's got to keep happening, and it's got to keep increasing. It's got to go because that's what we're talking about. We're huge Yankee fans, and we have a lot to look forward to as Yankee fans, but even Royals fans are more interested in baseball on February 15th than they would be any other year, and that's because of this scandal.
I'll tell you this much. This has been the worst week in the history of Major League Baseball since they canceled the World Series in 1994. Between the nonstop nonsense and the continued layers of this cheating scandal and the fact that they put this news out there that they want to do this god-awful nonsense to the postseason, this has just not been a good week. And I said, as I said earlier, it completely overshadowed the excitement of watching Garrett Cole and the rest of the Yankees pitchers and catchers report to camp. And Gary Sanchez looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, dude.
I told you, he's cute.
Yeah, he looks thin.
All right, Ryan.
Listen.
Punch on the pot is back.
Listen.
Every time you do that, one more punch that gets added to the tally.
I gotta say, I have to agree. It's been an awful week, awful month, whatever. But all publicity, my man.
Exactly.
Good. Everyone is talking about baseball right now.
Not to Major League Baseball. They'd rather black out the games for their local fans on MLB TV. They'd rather erase a video from the internet. They'd rather reprimand managers for showing some heart and character.
Because of integrity.
They'd rather people not talk about this. Why aren't they allowed to talk about it? They're not listening, of course. But why? If they did, then we wouldn't have that Bellinger comment. I mean, don't you guys feel differently about
like
Bellinger
Cody
now?
Bellinger or
Bellinger.
Trevor Bauer gets fined or suspended for what they said, and the Houston Astros don't get touched. I got a big problem.
That's where I see that. I see Major League Baseball issuing another statement when these questions continue to surface over and over every single day. They're going to say, "All right, that's it. We're done talking about it." And they might not say what they're going to do, but that's going to be so great.
You know what? I really do want honestly, I would like Major League Baseball to put a gag order on this whole shit from here on out.
Absolutely not. But that's what Dusty Baker wants.
I'm sick and tired of it.
But that's the problem with the sport, Christian. That's why no one watches it, because we just put a Band-Aid on everything. And then it escalates. Dude, the steroid scandal is still affecting baseball. What was the biggest controversy of last season? The juiced balls, right? Well, why were they juicing balls? Because you fucking made it so baseball was enamored by the long ball, and you gave it to us for so many years, and then you banned steroids once the Mitchell report came out, and guess what happened? People stopped hitting home runs, so you put in your own hands to juice the balls up.
Yep.
So it's enough. It's enough of that, dude. You can't have that mindset anymore.
No, I am going to have that mindset because I'm tired of. I don't want to. This is,
but it's good for baseball if you think about it. In the long term of things, the grand scheme, it is great for baseball because they could use this as an advantage to hold people accountable so it doesn't happen again.
Do you really think they're going to do that?
No, because I know that's that. This is the same fucking discussion we had a few weeks ago. They don't do anything, but it's time to change because it's 2020. It's an entertainment. It's a form of entertainment, and that's what entertainment is today.
If they thought that they were going to get any type of boost from this, they would be running with it, but they're not. They don't. They want to bury this
because it makes them look
because
bad.
It damages the integrity of the game, and that no matter what, if it damages the integrity, they'll forego any popularity that comes from it. As long as if it damages the integrity, they want nothing to do with it.
They say, oh, instead of running with this and seeing if it gains popularity, let's just change the rules.
I mean, guys, think about what you're entertained by. Do you watch a TV show or a movie and it's all sunshine and rainbows and then it ends and you're like, oh, that's a great movie. No, you need some conflict. You need some character. You need some story. And baseball shuts it. They shut it out completely.
They created the ultimate villain now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And we all love villains, don't we? Then let's grow them. Let's turn them into the true villain of Major League Baseball.
They've done a good enough job on their own.
Exactly. And they've done a great job. And the players talking about it, even though they were told not to, they've done a great job. But Major League Baseball has done a terrible job.
Yep.
But Ryan, to your point is a solid point. But it's time to just put it behind us now.
I know. Well,
until the next thing comes out.
As Yankee fans, yeah, it is. But as baseball fans, it is not time to put this behind us.
No, it should never be put behind us.
Yankee fans, we're looking forward to the World Series this year. Baseball fans, I want this sport to remain a thing. I want to keep rooting for the Yankees, but the way it's going, this decline, it's not good. And they're changing the game instead of changing your approach to the game. Guys, Chris, you never watch basketball. How many games have you watched this year? If I showed you a picture of LeBron James, would you know who he was?
Absolutely.
If I showed a basketball fan that watches the same amount of baseball as you do basketball, a picture of Mike Trout, is he even going to be able to identify him?
Probably not.
No, because there's no friggin' character. I don't know who Mike Trout is because you're not giving me him.
I agree.
The NBA is the perfect example of how to create character and change the character of the game and not the game itself, because they did that. It's a great comparison. Look up Mike Trout's marketability versus Larry Bird's marketability. Two guys that were not very marketable. What does baseball do? Nothing. What did basketball do? They found a way to make Larry Bird marketable. You have to take what you got and make it work. And by eliminating this character, that's what, dude, I mean, I love basketball. I don't root for a team in basketball. I just watch basketball because I like all the players. I like the game.
The players.
But, it's character. Think of how many basketball players you can name, Chris.
No, you're right.
Think of how many baseball players a basketball fan can name that watches 3 games a year.
You're right.
Nothing.
I could name a lot, actually.
Yes, you can name a lot because they do a great job at marketing them.
And I know a lot about them.
It's crazy how good they are at it. It really is. If you look into it, what they did with Larry Bird in that era with like Magic Johnson and all those guys had more personality, but Larry Bird was different in that sense. He didn't have that entertainment value.
But yet I see Larry Bird as the face of basketball back in that day.
Because of the way they marketed him, the way they market LeBron James. I mean, the guy made hilarious commercials when he was coming up for Sprite and for the league, and that was a way to build his character. Sprite. Again, this is all Sprite comes back for me to Major League Baseball's handling of it, their continued suppressing of it, and why it's ultimately bad for the long run of baseball, because you're taking away storyline, controversy, and that's what generates views, which is your main problem right now, right? That's the main thing that's the concern of baseball, is that people aren't watching it the same way anymore.
Yep.
So let's create some story. CNN, these news outlets that get millions of views and clicks, they're not publishing all great stories.
Oh, because I promise you,
stories.
Every time the Astros are on national television, everyone's watching.
Yeah. I'm watching those.
I want to see if someone's going to get hit. I want to see if there's a brawl now. You're right. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
They need to get with the times, dude. That's what we want. Because and you know why? It's because there's so much freaking content out there. We have so much that is in front of us that if it's not entertaining us, then we're not going to give it the time of day. And especially people that don't like baseball, that's who you're catering to with all of these changes. But if you're not entertaining these new people, they're going to find something else that's entertaining them because it's so easy to.
Yep. I agree.
Drop your mic, Ryan.
I like that shit, bro.
I mean,
that was hard.
It's
That was hard.
It's enough's enough now with major. It's all on Major League Baseball.
That was
yes,
real.
Barry Bonds was messed up for taking steroids, but Major League Baseball was even worse for allowing it to continue.
Yep.
Astros were terrible in this, but baseball knew about it.
Of course they did.
Yeah, of course
Everyone
did.
did.
Of course they did.
You said last week
Yeah.
teams
It's
were
pathetic.
complaining about, and it wasn't until Fire said something that they had to do something about it. But they're not going to change. You know that.
No, I know, and it's a
They're just
shame.
going to
It's going
continue.
to kill the sport.
They're going to continue to do dumb shit like this postseason proposal, and it's not really what fans want more than anything is to know that what they're watching is on the up and up, and that's why they need to. This is what they need to do. They need to figure out how to get this out of the game and not be like, oh, I got a better idea. Let's sit 6 GMs in a room and have them pick their opponent for the postseason.
Yeah, they're taking the steps to do their part, but they're.
You want to talk
the
about
wrong
integrity?
steps. Yeah.
That just makes them look. It just makes them look terrible.
For what?
Of like the whole choosing your opponent and makes you look fucking dumb.
I mean,
integrity.
I know you don't agree with it, Ryan, but I do want to move past this.
No, of course. I mean, as a Yankee fan,
as a Yankee podcast,
I want
we have
to as
to.
well, because this
But
season's going to be awesome.
As a
Should
Yankee
be.
podcast, we have to, but we also don't really control that. If the Astros continue to do things, if this story continues to grow, we are forced to talk about it. Because guess what? Just to Ryan's point, that's all people want to hear. As much Yankee fans as everyone listening is, this is what people want to hear. This is what people are emotional about.
And I understand that. And that goes back to my point about I wish that MLB would just say, all right, nobody comments about it. We know it's out there. You can't take it back. Nobody you say anything about it from here on out, you get fined. That's it. Because then now what we want to focus in on is the on-field product.
Yep.
Which they've told them not to talk about anymore. So if they do it again and now they fine them, you would be okay with them suspending and fining players for
he just
talking
wants it to
about
be put out there so that hopefully it stops.
I mean, dude, if I heard that as a player, if they actually say anything
I'd
along
fucking
those
lose my
lines,
shit, man.
I would, again,
But you know what?
Streisand effect, I'm talking about it even more.
I'm telling you, though. But just like the reason why Houston's in trouble, because they were told to stop doing
I'll
something.
get in trouble for
and
that.
they continue to do it. If you're now told, Manfred said, that's enough. With spring training, let's go.
They would strike, I think. I think they would come together and they wouldn't play.
I don't know about that.
The players' union would never allow
I could see that causing
fines to be
major
issued on
problems.
on discussing topics. Because guess what? Then you'd have to also put bans and fines on the media.
Yeah.
Who brought it up? You just could never. You can't regulate it.
But the only reason why you can't is because they didn't punish the players that participated in it.
Rob Manfred says, no more talking about the Houston Astros. Go ahead, ask me a question about the Houston Astros. You're a reporter. I play for the Yankees. Ask me a question.
Did you know that the Astros are cheating in 2017?
I'm not going to discuss that anymore.
No, it would be, I can't discuss that anymore.
I will no longer discuss that. I can't discuss it. Whatever the verbiage is, how hard was that? Next question. Go ahead, ask me another question.
It's not about difficulty. It's about discussion and talking about it.
You know what I'm done talking about? This shit now. It's so mentally exhausting. Because to Christian's point, as much as we have to talk about it, just don't want to.
No, I don't want to either.
Like, I honestly feel, you know how we feel when the Yankees get eliminated and we have our post-season therapy session where we just let it all out? That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
But in a bad way. Like, normally after that, I feel exhausted and drained, but I feel better. I just feel worse because there's no resolve.
No, there's no answers yet.
There's no closure.
I mean, they tried to, but it's not
I do
working.
want to apologize to the fans that we asked for comments on this. We're not going to read them. The show is incredibly long. And again, we want to thank everybody that stuck with this show. It's even longer than last week's show, but if the content's going to be there, we're just
gotta give it.
That's where it's going to go. And Stack Guy Ride, sometimes he sits there like a mute, and then today he was just like, boom. I mean, he punches somebody in the face last week.
Yeah, now he's a new man.
And now this week he wants to take over the show. I mean, I'm here for it.
There's certain things that I
don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, all right, good. I don't want to talk anymore. It's just, this is something I felt like I wanted to get out because I didn't know what I was thinking, and I just want to
hashtag feel your feelings.
Yeah,
Feel your feelings, bro. That's all me. I'm fucking copywriting that.
All right, so I mean, my God-given hope for next episode is that we're sitting here an hour before we watch the Wilder Fury fight, talking about something that we saw happen on a baseball field and has nothing to do with anybody stealing.
Is that guy right?
signs.
You're not going to be here next week?
No, I'm on assignment next week.
You want to get
guys.
drunk? You want to get drunk?
I mean, if I get done with that early enough, I'll come by over here.
Come for the fight.
Yeah, I'll see. I don't know how. It shouldn't be too late, but it's kind of far away, so I don't know.
I don't know. Chris seeing guys throw punches and then you sitting next to him.
That
might be, yeah.
Is there a favorite in that fight? Is it Wilder?
Yeah.
That was a great first fight.
I'm rooting for Fury this time around.
Me too.
I mean,
I was rooting for Wilder the first time, but
he's
he
insane,
me.
bro. He said that. We'll wrap this up real quick, but he said that he's jerking it like 9 times a day now.
I saw that.
To get his testosterone levels up.
That's awesome.
And then today I read something that in order to strengthen his jaw muscles to be able to take a punch better, he's also engaging in a sex act.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's where you were going, and you did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So good.
They usually say to not do that stuff.
Condolingus?
Yeah, condolingus is I mean, good for him, bro. I mean, good for Tyson Fury. I mean, anybody that's okay. That's when we know we want to.
Hope you enjoyed the sound effects, folks.
Yeah. So if you stuck with us, we thank you very, very much. 2 back-to-back really long shows. But you guys are the best fans in the world, and we appreciate all the support from everybody. So hopefully you sat through everything we had to say these last 2 weeks. Hopefully next week will be much more around closer to the usual hour mark, and we'll have some fun with some spring training type stuff, and not actually like, oh, did you hear what this fucking guy said this
seriously.
week? Mm-hmm. But again, thank you for listening to episode 166 of the NYY Sports Talk podcast. New merch coming out Monday. If you go to my Twitter at Christian_NYYST and look at my pinned tweet, you can probably guess what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
And Chris will drop a promo code that we promised last week that we'll do this week because if you're listening to the show, you definitely deserve a few bucks off after having to listen to us for like a combined 4 hours in the last 2 weeks.
People are just finishing the last episode.
Hey, good for them. And then they'll have this to listen to. So I think that's it. Follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. Pop, Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.